We talk a lot about gods and monsters on this channel, but today we are following the breadcrumbs of a man that rivals them with his technology. Last night while browsing Twitter, oh yeah, follow me, at Lockstin, I noticed that Pokemon news about Gigantamax Melmetal coming out soon, finally, and suddenly, a lot of pieces started just clicking into place like Tetris blocks. Little bits of lore from all the way back in Gen 6 and 4 even suddenly started making sense. AZ, Dialga, and Palkia is so much. So let's get into it. Starting off by looking at Gigantamax Melmetal. Hey, big thanks and shoutouts to today's sponsor, AFK Arena, a free-to-download iOS and Android game you can download with my link down in the description. The character art and animation in this game is pretty sick, actually, and— oh no! The boss just nearly ended me! Ukyo! Come on, Ukyo! You have to save me! Oh wow, he actually did it! Ukyo Tachibana from the classic arcade fighting game Samurai Showdown was just added to help celebrate the 1-year anniversary of AFK Arena. And on top of that, this weekend, from the 17th to the 19th, all players who log on will get 50 hero summon scrolls for free. That's a big deal. So now's the time to try this out. Also, if you use the code AFK888 in the game, you get 3 elite heroes and 300 diamonds. They're just giving all this away as a thanks to their players for an awesome year. And it's no wonder that they've done so well. This game has simple yet enjoyable gameplay. It's easy to get into, but has strategic depth, especially when you get into the competitive PvP. The world lore and story is fun and in-depth, and this game satisfies those collector cravings we all get as you expand your roster. And that sounds like something I know plenty of you will love, so give it a shot! Now's the time! Click the link below to download AFK Arena for free, and thanks again to AFK Arena for sponsoring this video. Looking at the design of Gigantamax Melmetal, we can tell that it's humanoid, but flawed. I mean, look at this! How does it even stand? But then, just like that, came the moment of pure eureka! Talos. Or Talos. Depending on how you want to pronounce it. It's an automaton that was made with the model that Zeus designed for humanity. You see, before humans existed in Greek mythology, Zeus wanted to make the project out of making all of the people. I'm gonna make humans, he said, and that's what Zeus sounds like. But Prometheus took the job instead, and made humans out of mud. But this ultimately was good for us because Zeus's design had a huge flaw, a massive weakness. There was only one set of veins holding the life force in the ankles. That's bad. And well, look at Melmetal. The thinnest and weakest part of its body when Gigantamaxed is its ankles. And we'll get to why this is all the more fantastic and why my grammar's so bad soon. Trust me, this isn't where it ends, obviously. Gigantamaxed Melmetal could very well be based on an ancient bronze robot made by Hephaestus. So its nuts are bronze. You can see this pretty clearly and it's shiny. But the mercury? Well, it's never directly stated that Melton's line is actually mercury, but there are theories about it being mercury or tantalum, and there's also an art book that says that the eyeball is gallium, so the rest could be too. We really don't know, but just looking at it, it does have every property that mercury does, and its Pokedex entries also point to it, so also mercury suits our purposes here, so let's just go with the flow, right? What does mercury have to do with Greek automatons? Well, a lot actually. Daedalus was an inventor that rivaled Hephaestus, and used mercury to give his statues voices, essentially bringing them to life. And in Greek alchemy, mercury is the most important element for life too. And if the name Daedalus sounds familiar, well, it's because there's a pretty popular Greek mythological story where he was trapped in Crete and escaped with Icarus by making the wings of wax and the feathers. You all know the story of that. Sploosh dead. But speaking of Crete, a lot of things are connecting here. Zeus was born and raised by a goat in a cave on Crete. Talos, the giant automaton, was made to protect the island of Crete. And, well, here's a Pokedex entry for Gigantamax Melmetal. In a distant land, like Greece in relation to Galar, Great Britain, there are legends about a cyclopean giant. In fact, the giant was a Melmetal. And Talos is said to also have been given to Minos, after it was forged by Hephaestus, and a Cyclops, at the request of Zeus, so Zeus's original design with the weak ankles. And we're just going full circle. I love when that happens. There are a lot of interesting things here, but it gets better. Archytas of Tarentum, which sounds like tantalum, was a Greek philosopher and mathematician, and he invented spiral bolts. You know, the thing that nuts go onto, Melmetal's head and stuff. He was basically the father of mechanics, but NBD. But let's look at one more Melmetal thing before we delve more into the rest. Melmetal is a Cyclops. It's big, and it has only one eye. The Cyclops is a famous Greek monster, and Gmax Melmetal's Pokedex says that it can send electric beams streaking out from the hole in its belly. The beam's tremendous energy can vaporize an opponent in a single shot. You know how Zeus throws lightning bolts and such? Well, Zeus doesn't generate those. He's not like the Emperor Palpatine or anything. He has them made and sent to him to throw like spears. And guess who makes Zeus's lightning bolts? The Cyclopses. Full circle. Plus, Telos, living metal protector of the island of Crete. Cyclopses. Also all live on an island and make the lightning bolts. Circles! More circles! Should I say hexagons? Because it's in that. And now Archimedes, another amazing Greek inventor and mathematician. He also invented what is known as the Iron Claw, basically a big set of metal hands used to topple ships. And I mean, look at Melmetal's hands when Gigantamaxed. They big. But interestingly, besides just Melmetal, we found that Archimedes may have a couple more fascinating ties with the Pokemon world. I mean, he's a massive global historical figure, so it's easy to base things on him and his discoveries, but let's get into some of them. The first one is his Eureka formula. Basically, a king wanted to know how much mass his crown takes up. Archimedes took a bath to think about it and figure it out, and then in the bath he shouted, "Eureka!" He figured out that you can measure an object's volume, or how much space it takes up, by putting it in water and measuring the difference in the levels of water. Now let's look at the Pokemon of space. Palkia is water type, which confused a lot of people, but the guy who figured out how to measure space and mass used water to do so. That explains it pretty well. I mean, the dude also invented a rudimentary water pump. Also, a lot of Greek ruins are found in Sinnoh, which is based in Japan. What are Greek ruins doing in Japan? It's almost as if a man not from there wrote the blueprints for them and went out and constructed them. So maybe like a Greek dude. But it's not like we can just tie these ruins to Archimedes. Or can we? In the movie Arceus and the Jewel of Life in some Greek-looking ruins again, there's a contraption made of 4 spheres that measures space and time, allowing the people of the ruin to detect clashes or warps in reality caused by these Pokemon. Archimedes made something similar. It's called the Sphere of Archimedes, a device that is a model of the universe. These things have been said to be complete models of the heavens at the time. Not only that, but if we go to Kalos and look at the ultimate weapon, more things are interestingly popping into place. Archimedes also invented a death ray, a reflective surface thing that absorbs and fires energy. And what is the ultimate weapon? A reflective thing that absorbs energy from something to make a deadly beam of energy? Huh. So clearly I'm just connecting dots at this point, so you can take all this with a grain of salt, but in the Pokemon universe, their version of Daedalus may have been the same as their version of Archimedes, and AZ may be partially inspired by Minos. First things first though, that graveyard with the stones in Kalos could be a reference to the mass graves in the catacombs under Paris, which is a giant labyrinth. Minos had a labyrinth, made after the tragedy involving a loved one. Like AZ's Floette that he lost. And they were made to trap something. Minos the Minotaur. And in Pokemon's case, AZ and the energy to revive Floette. But after that purpose, they used the things for a more destructive purpose. Minos used the labyrinth to kill people, and AZ used it to make the ultimate weapon and kill people. So what if AZ Minos trapped their version of Archimedes in there and used him to make the Death Ray, the ultimate weapon? I mean, it's just a hypothesis, but it does fall in line with a lot of the old alchemy stuff I talked about a few years ago. A lot of Pokemon lore is based on real-world mythology and alchemy, and the two go together hand in hand, and they flow into each other nicely because the history of mysticism is crazy, yo. And as time goes on, I'm sure we'll discover more, and I'm absolutely sure that if you subscribe and hit the bell, you'll be happy about it. I mean, it'll send you annoying notifications all the time, every time I post videos. I mean, that's why YouTubers push it all the time. But, yeah, there's no big conclusion here. It's just a massive theory. It's just a theory, right? Maybe AZ is this dude, maybe not. We're still digging. But Gmax Melmetal certainly has a lot of Greek inspiration here, and that's really cool. So until next time, never stop using your noggin.